local people, by and large, do not want these hotels in their towns, in their place. And nor do I. I'm completely at one with them on that.
Keir Starmer sparks outrage with candid comment on asylum hotels. You're not going to believe what just came out of Westminster. In a moment that stunned even his own supporters, Labour leader and Prime Minister Keir Starmer made a brutally honest admission about Britain's asylum hotels. A moment so raw, so unfiltered, that it left commentators asking, did he just hand his critics the biggest political weapon yet? Yes. Starmer openly suggested that he wouldn't be comfortable letting his own daughter walk past one of the hotels currently being used to house asylum seekers. Think about that for a second. This wasn't a backbencher, it wasn't a fringe voice. Now, to understand why this single line hit like a thunderbolt, you have to step back. For months, the UK has been caught in a storm over immigration, asylum, and border control. Hotels across the country have been converted into emergency accommodation, sparking protests, petitions, and furious debate in Parliament. Local residents complain of being ignored. Councils say they weren't consulted. And communities feel like decisions are being made over their heads. And now, Keir Starmer has poured fuel on the fire. Because here's the contradiction: the citizens have repeatedly slammed the government for failing to manage the asylum system. They've attacked Labour for losing control of the borders. They've painted themselves as the sensible alternative. But when pressed with a deeply personal, deeply human question, Starmer revealed something that sounds an awful lot like fear. And that fear is now echoing across the country. Social media erupted almost instantly. One user wrote, "If Starmer doesn't trust his own daughter near these hotels, why should the rest of us?" Another added, "This is the truth politicians usually hide, but it slipped out tonight." Even inside Labour, there's panic. Some strategists are reportedly fuming, saying this kind of raw honesty could undermine months of careful messaging. One unnamed Labour MP told a journalist, "It was a gift to the Tories. They'll weaponize this line until Election Day." And the Conservatives? They pounced. Almost immediately, senior Tory voices framed the comment as proof that even Labour doesn't believe its own rhetoric on safety and community integration. Home Office insiders were quick to brief reporters, saying Starmer's slip reveals the very doubts ordinary people already hold. But here's the twist. Some say this wasn't a mistake at all. That maybe, just maybe, Starmer wanted to signal something deeper. That he knows communities are anxious. That he knows the system feels broken. And by speaking as a father, not just as a politician, he might be trying to show voters that he gets it. If that's true, it's a risky gamble. Because the words, "I wouldn't let my daughter walk past," don't sound like policy nuance. They sound like fear. They sound like distrust. And they sound like a man who isn't fully confident in the very system he wants to run. Let's not forget, this comes at a time when immigration is dominating headlines, not just in the UK, but across Europe. From Germany to Italy to France, leaders are facing the same pressure. Communities say they feel overwhelmed, governments say their hands are tied, and voters say they've had enough of promises without action. So when Britain's Prime Minister, the man positioning himself as the steady hand, drops a line like this, the ripple effects stretch far beyond one press conference. The Daily Mail splashed it across their pages. The Times called it a window into Starmer's private fears. And talk radio shows lit up with callers saying this proves the entire political class is out of touch. But here's the bigger question: was this Starmer showing humanity or weakness? Some argue this was the kind of honesty people crave. A politician admitting what millions quietly feel but are too afraid to say out loud. Others say it was reckless, irresponsible, and will only inflame division. And that's the tightrope Britain now walks. Because no matter where you stand politically, one thing is clear. The debate over asylum, hotels, and border control is no longer just about statistics or policy papers. It's about emotion, fear, trust, safety, and now even family. So what happens next? Will Labour scramble to walk back the comments? Will Starmer himself clarify, saying he was speaking off the cuff? Or will he double down, framing himself as a straight-talking leader who tells uncomfortable truths? Because make no mistake, every party strategist, every voter, every journalist will be replaying that moment over and over. And the question lingers. If the man who runs Britain doesn't feel safe walking his daughter past an asylum hotel, what does that say about the state of the country right now? This story isn't going away. It's only just beginning.